Hey everybody, Rip Fletching again. Had a request to do a video on how I shoot my bow, and the stages I go through in the process. So this is my den room, so grandbaby's been playing, it's kind of a mess, but let me kind of show you the process I go through. I'll be shooting the Blackswan. This is a 60-inch with a homemade flipper. Let's see, I'll kind of go over some of this with you. I'll be shooting the Turbo Nox. This is a, this is just a light poundage bow. This bow is, 44 pounds? So at my draw length, it's probably about 52 pounds or so. Hopefully it picks up on the camera. I'm going to be using a 3-under. So I come all the way up to the bottom of the nock. And I don't push super hard. You can even give yourself a little bit of space. Okay. I put my cock feather up and out. So it's not straight up, but it's slightly pointed up. And I'll show you why when I draw it. So hopefully I've got the room in here to go through the full process with you. Now, and again, excuse the voice, it is getting better, but I plan on going ice fishing again this Tuesday, so I might not be able to talk after that. But anyway, let's say you're shooting competition, you're shooting targets, or if you just have the opportunity to do this, you get in your stance, okay, and you bend at the knee slightly a few times, just like almost like riding a horse. And I just let my body bounce a few times, and I don't lock my knees out. So I bounce a couple of times and I stop in a comfortable, what you want is a strong athletic stance, one that you feel like you could punch from, you could kick from, you could receive. If someone was tackling you, you could respond to it. It's the same stance. If you've done martial arts, it's the same stance they teach you. So it's pretty much that. You've got a good foundation, a good base. It's pretty important. So that's what I do. I get my base where I'm comfortable. Secondly, if I'm shooting 3-under, I tap my fingers on my chest. What that does, lines up all my knuckles, my fingertips. I grab to the first knuckle. So then I may have to scoot back, but I'll try to do it right here close. I draw my bow up. Okay, so I'll kind of do this as a fluid motion. So let's break it down. You go up, draw, anchor, touch the nose, touch the shoulder. You hold the position, like if they're going to take a picture of you, then relax. So what that does is you're up, you draw, you anchor, you relax. So it's got this bow tension, you've got its back tension. So when you draw back to your anchor point, you see how to lock that shoulder blade back, and boom. So this shot sequence should take about 3 seconds. I'll shoot the same arrow so I don't accidentally Robin Hood it, because I'm pretty close here. Okay. Without talking, I'll just duplicate. So what that does, you want to become like a robot. Duplicate the shot. You want to be able to, under any circumstance, you do these sequences over and over to where it's just natural. It's what you want to do. Not everybody teaches you to touch that back shoulder. That is my technique. I believe in it. Because if you're back at anchor point, you've got full tension, I've dropped my head forward, my nose is touching the back tip of this feather, turn the head, drop it down, touch the feather, boom. So this you have the back tension and on the release. So then you want to that's your proper position. Hopefully that's showing in the camera. It's hard for me to get, I'm shooting so steep and right here, I know everything's not exactly like it would be, but so you're up, you draw. And you'll notice if everything's just right, the shot is quiet. You're not plucking the string, you're not twisting it, your arrow's not banging against your bow. It just comes off real nice. It will have a different sound. I'll try to pluck one. It's hard for me to pluck one because I've always tried not to. I don't even hardly know how to do it, but I'll pluck one and let you see the difference. So, I don't know if you can tell the difference or not. My bow's very quiet, so. All right, so again, you draw 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, there's a lot goes on. I know it looks pretty simple, but there's a lot going on outside the draw. And for this stage of practice, we're not aiming. I want you super close to a target. It needs to be chest height, and I mean close. I mean like 5 yards away, because I don't want you aiming. They call this a blind bell. A lot of times they'll actually, you close your eyes or wear a blindfold, go through these procedures so you get those mechanics down. I think it's okay if your eyes are open and you have a target, even if it has spots on it, it's okay. Main thing is focus on the procedures. So what you want to do, horse ride, that strong position, line everything up. Total focus, relax. I know you guys can't see, but I've literally put, not even trying, just every one of those arrows have gone in the exact same hole. Not trying to, but it shows you when you get the mechanics correct. If I put this bow on a shooting machine where it couldn't move and it drew the bow back and fired it, drew the bow back and fired it, drew the bow back and fired it, all of my arrows would be touching. I've shot dozens of Robin Hoods, and the way you do that is duplicate the shot. One more time. So, and it's hard at this angle here. It's so steep. Come up, anchor, touch. Okay? One more time. Get your position. Up, draw. All right. I hope you enjoyed that. I know that's a pretty basic video, but I did have a person, they wanted me to do a video that was just exactly that, basic. What are the basics? And I'll tell you, I would say the #1 mistake by even the aged, seasoned shooters, been shooting 40 years, they've kind of forgot the basics. When I started shooting, I was shooting with people who had been shooting 20 and 30 years, and their scores were horrible. And I thought to myself, if this is the best that can be achieved by shooting a stick and string, probably shouldn't be allowed to hunt with it because they were that bad. So through reaching out in the outside the communities, going to different shoots, all of a sudden I realized, hey, these guys are scoring as well or better than a lot of the compound shooters. So I went on a little quest to find out how to become that guy. And I broke it down into this few steps. If you just duplicate those steps, you just become a robot. The aiming takes care of itself. Your brain will calculate the distance. You'd be surprised, the human body is so amazing. We're designed to hunt. I can hand a child a bow once I've taught them the basic principle of shooting that bow, it isn't long. They can hit anything. A good example of that, I was teaching for the state Parks and Recreation, and had a bunch of kids out there. They could hardly hit the whole target. I said, okay, give a little instruction video, the process. Then I put a $2 bill on each target. Now I said, the first person that hits the $2 bill, you get to keep it. Guess what? Kids that were grouping, literally, I probably couldn't reach around the group. All of a sudden, we're crushed to about a 6-inch circle, and someone would hit the $2 bill almost every single time. These are the first time they ever shot a bow in their life. And so if you get the principle, the mechanics, really simplify it. Don't make it overcomplicated. There's so many YouTube videos that make shooting a bow so complicated. It doesn't have to be. You just lift your bow, you draw your bow. Now the key factor here is anchor point. You want a mechanical anchor point that is solid. I use bones. I'll show you what I do here. So it's lift the bow, you draw the bow. Now, since I'm shooting 3 under, my arrow's not aimed up in the air, it's actually aimed at the target already. You don't use the pointer finger, you go up, next finger on the eye tooth, which is a pretty good place. It's not perfect for everybody. Come back, I C-cup my jawbone, it's solid. Eye tooth, reach around my cheekbone, and then whenever I relax, back tension takes over, my thumb nails my shoulder. Back tension, and you'll feel it pull in your face. So, some of the trigger points are, in the draw cycle, when you come back, touch the nose, you look at your anchor, you've got your anchor points locked in, you know where you're shooting, and it's that easy. All right, this is going to be installment number 1 on this. I think I may just do a series of these if I have time. We're getting busy at work again. But hopefully that's helpful to you. I wanted to show you a turbo knock. This is, I really believe in these. This is a turbo knock. I'm hoping it's showing up. It spins the arrow at 9,000 RPMs. So what that does, normally an arrow comes off and it paradoxes. And I know some people argue with it, but it bends back and forth. It wiggles as it goes through the air. So if you have done any flight shooting or distance shooting or know about physics, you lose energy in vibration, you lose energy in wobble. Plus, every time the arrow wobbles, you have wind drag all over this thing. It becomes less efficient at slipping through the air because it's banging against fresh air. There's a column of air that runs along the shaft that's just perfect. But when the arrow gets out of that, there's a lot of drag. Okay, we won't go too far into that. But when you're spinning this arrow, the minute it leaves the string, so when an arrow's fired, here's your bow. You think, well, it's letting go back here, but it probably isn't. It probably goes forward just a little bit. It lets go. So this thing's going to start on a rotation right off the bat. And it's not going to be too aggressive because it doesn't have far enough to really. So if you're worried about paradox, it's not a problem. I've shot these with all different spines and it actually helps. It does not hurt. The arrow will come off and will instantly just be rotating like a bullet straight toward the target. And it will, I guarantee you, it will shoot more accurately, more consistently when you take a lot of the excess movement out of that shot. Another thing I've noticed, it tends to have better penetration downfield. Real close, you're not going to see a difference. Further downfield, it literally has more energy left over when it gets down there. So I hope this was helpful to you. Hopefully I didn't talk too much and you understand some of the basics of what I'm doing. Like and share. Friend me on Facebook, whatever, guys. I'm going to try to grow this channel. All right, catch you later.